so as I understand raw films, why we are calling it Nordic is we want to kind of build a network of a bigger labor movement here, and also to reclaim Nordic as from the right wing and to say we are the Nordic kind of thing. So what we got inspired, or rather in a way forced, like good comrades do, to take on this initiative. So Talat and Alex here we have been to the Nordic Film Festival here, and we were part, and then like, you should start in Bergen, you should start in Bergen, and we were like little reluctant because we know how big it is and how much work it would be. Then in 2020, we was like, okay, fine, maybe we could look at that, and so, more so because Royla, who is here, said like, oh, this looks exciting, we should do this. And then we made an organization, a film collective called Dot Left. So we want to do, we want to record, we want to tell our stories, and the dot stands for recording. And here it's also, it's based and inspired by raw film. The organization itself, it's very new, it's just 2 years, wherein raw film is 20. So they're 20 and we're 2, so we are babies. So we're looking at the big brother here, and we want to learn a lot of stuff. And the Nordic Labour Film Festival primarily is also to focus on the Norwegian films, because it's easy to get international films and show and make a good festival, but our focus is also to dig back in, see what we have, how do we promote, and also to get connected to filmmakers who probably are interested but haven't made, or have made but don't know where to show them, and activists who are leaning on making films, kind of thing. So the focus is on Norwegian films, and these are the 2 posters we had. And so luckily for us, the first year, accidentally we came across one of the films a Norwegian person had made on which got shown on her own story, but it's not a documentary. And this kind of, she's an artist, trained artist, filmmaker, and she got to make this film, and we didn't know about her. We just read on exactly this clipping of a newspaper, and I took contact with her, and she was gracious enough to come and talk to us and show her. And this also initiated dialogue with many unions, asking her to come and talk and present a film, and also what they could do as part of fighting and taking the poverty, because many also what we call as employed and poor. You're employed and still not making enough to meet ends. So that kind of also, that is a question labor unions should be taking. So this initiated a part of that dialogue. And as I mentioned here, Yemi, that just 2 days before our festival on 2021, we got a call, and they said like, oh, we saw your posters, and I know you're making like you're having a Nordic Labour Film Festival, and I think my film could be a good candidate, could match. And we were like, okay, what's the film about? It's Kill the Rich. And like, oh, we already love the film, but we need to see it. So, so we got to see the film, and we loved it. And he is a Svensk, okay? So he's Svensk, but happened to be Norwegian in a sense, living in Norway and making Norwegian films. So we showed the film, we had a talk with him, and he's been very enthusiastic. So this is something we want to build. We want people who are interested to make these films wherein they wouldn't otherwise make. Now he's interested to make more of these films, even though it is not his career choices, kind of thing. So this was very well received by the public, and they really enjoyed it. And these were the 2 films, though, which without trying or like with little effort, we got on our film festival. And this year and going forward, we want to focus on the classicals in Norway. And Greedy Norden was our first classic we showed. This is also to go back in history and show what was happening, kind of thing. So Greedy Norden, as I mentioned already, a lot of people came, and they primarily came to watch this film, and they were really happy. And Sulis. This is the biggest budget independent film being made currently in northern Norway. And Sulitema is a small town. It was the coal mining place in northern Norway. And it's 1907. So this story is based on a 1907 coal mining workers' strike, which was historic because this is the strike that gave us the tariff. Yeah, so the primary avtale with the labor and the arbeidsgiver.
Kollektivavtal.
Yeah, collective avtal. So collective tariff avtal. That and also the 8 hours working time. So this is the strike that kind of strike gave us these two. So what happened more than centuries old is still making impact on our life. So, and this film is being produced by ELO, not only, but primarily being produced by ELO, and it's in production. We had a work in progress in this year, and the producers were the film making this, the team making this film was there, and they talked about it. And hopefully next year we will have a screening of this. And again, this is not a documentary. This is a feature film, dramatized and big screen, blockbuster, but talking about organizing strike. And these are the films we should get across. And this is another film, not such a big budget, but still a fiction film, completely fiction film about Polish youth, Polish queer youth experience in Norwegian fishing industry. So here the film again is work in progress. It's in post-production. So the filmmaker was there. We got to see the clipping, and the filmmaker is so sensitive to include current day complexities of a society, intersectionality without putting it in your face. So talking about Polish workers make one of the biggest immigrant working community in Norway, but yet they are not well organized and they are not spoken. We don't hear their stories and their struggles. They are in many of the industries, food industry, health industry, and building industry, transport industry. So many of the hard labor work industries are having Polish workers, but we hardly get to hear their stories. So this is kind of fictionalized insight into it. And also talking about the previous generation Polish workers, like his mom's struggles kind of thing coming in, and his lover is a Black African kid adopted by white Norwegian parents who are the owners of the factory. So the complexities are so beautiful and so nuanced. So we had a beauty, and this I think was a major hit because we had peer organization, we had peer people, we had union coming in and speaking about this, and we have now collaborations with the queer organization and union to promote the film and take this dialogue forward. Because also the queer organizations often focus on social aspects and not the labor aspects. And that's what we want to change also. Part of the Nordic Labour Film Festival in Bergen focus is anti-imperialistic, anti-capitalistic, intersectional, and queer and feminist films. So this is the message we want to bring forward. And we are very clear that we want to include films and narrations, stories of this in our film festival. And as I mentioned, the organization organizing the Nordic Labour Film Festival in Bergen is Dot Left. And the film festival is one of the platforms and one of the events we are doing, and we're very new. And yet, as Raw Film does, we would also are interested in producing films. When I say producing, doesn't have to be huge, big budget, but producing for the very reason because we are so interested in bringing these stories out. And this is something we are keen in hearing your struggles, hearing your interests so that we could collaborate and take forward and learn, not the least, how you have done things which we could learn from. Yes, and hopefully next year I get to see some of you in Bergen. Thank you so much for giving your time today. If there's any questions, if you're thinking loud, answer. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Archana. Are you okay with Swedish? Ja, då byter jag. Men som Archana nämnde här så samarbetar vi ju och tittar på möjligheter att bredda festivalen i Norden. Och det här med kulturen tänkte jag nämna också. Archana nämnde som all typ av kultur, arbetarkultur, att det är viktigt. Att det är ett sätt liksom att sprida, som vi gör med filmen men även med litteratur och så vidare. Det finns ett antal utställningar här. Där nere finns det posters från arbetarrörelsen historiskt och även andra rörelser. Här uppe finns det nutida projekt som är gjorda tillsammans med fackförbund. Om ni är sugna på att titta på mer arbetarkultur. Det börjar ett samtal här nu alldeles strax. Klockan 15 så är det betydelsen av nedväxt för klimatomställningen.
पाकिस्तान के ज़ेर इंतज़ाम कश्मीर के ज़िला कोटली हल्का चड़ोई की यूनियन कौंसल प्राय से असद यासीन चौधरी ने ज़िला कौंसल के लिए कागजात नामजदगी जमा करवा दिए हैं। इनके हमरा हाफिज अंसर और चौधरी सगीर ने भी लोकल कौंसल के लिए अपने कागजात नामजदगी जमा करवाए। असद यासीन चौधरी सियासी और समाजी रहनुमा